but as a rule of thumb, it takes 2 shockwaves. If you have a healing scroll, it will take a 3rd shockwave, and that can be very hard to get off because you have mana burn. So the point is that the mana burn really helps you control the shockwaves, and the healing scroll cancels out the few shockwaves that the Torn Chieftain can do. So you have a pretty good deal going here. This is a better placement of the Pocket Factory, by the way. There are not many orc units in range of it. A lot of little goblins, clockwork goblins, are coming out, and there's the Invuln Pot again doing its work. You need that. The Demon Hunter would have... I mean, the other option would be to have a TP, but with neither of those, the DH was going down. And this way it's allowed to escape. The Beastmaster also manages to escape. And Winters does something a little strange here. He sticks around, in my opinion, too long. But he does pull out eventually. After his heroes had been lowered, he should have just gotten out. Now leaving a Talon behind, maybe to cancel the salve. Yeah, that's actually a very good job by Winters. He canceled the salve on the Blade Master and went to crow form and scurried away. So I don't know if I could pull that off. I don't know if I can recommend it really, but you know, if you can do that, sure, why not? He knew that there was going to be a salve going on. And now finally we see fairy dragons. Now, obviously, I mean, you know what fairy dragons are for. Fairy dragons are to stop the dispel, or to punish those spirit walkers for getting dispel. The problem is that fairy dragons are, they're totally useless in combat. When they're doing Mana Flare, they're not even in fairy dragon form. They're in Mana Flare form, and so they can't attack. And they just die to bats as soon as they come out of Mana Flare. What a smart orc will do is wait for them to come out of Mana Flare. When you go into Mana Flare, the orc will refuse to fight you there. And send the bats into them. Nevertheless, fairy dragons are very important, especially, in particular in fighting against the walker heavy armies. Right now, though, I see 2 walkers. Fairy dragons, not the most essential thing. And notice also the gold mines are running out. Winters knows that he will have an advantage as soon as the gold mines run out, because he can just walk his expansion over to the other gold mine, whereas Fly will have to build a new one. And that will be good for Winters, obviously, because he'll have another gold income, and Fly has to really work for his. Meanwhile, Winters is going to be pressuring Fly, knowing that by the time the battle's over, his tree will be at the expansion, and he'll be ready to start rebuilding his army, whereas Fly will not. Now mana burning. Okay, in my opinion, that's silly. Don't mana burn the walkers. If you want to get the mana off the walkers, which is a good thing to do, you should bring wisps to the battle. That's something we haven't seen Winters do here. But there's a good scroll of healing right after the shockwave, using the scroll of healing, and now just killing the raiders. And Winters really doing a good job in this battle, focusing down the loose units. At this point, his micro has somewhat failed with his Druids of the Talon, but he still has 3 very powerful heroes, even when his Druids of the Talon are disorganized. He should... Okay. At this point, what we see sort of the biggest Blade Master hunt ever coming right up, but another scroll of healing there. Now, look, again, there are no walkers, and Fly needs to run. Getting his Torn Chieftain focused, he's going to have to run it away. Torn Chieftain is just going to get away, I believe. Meanwhile, the Blade Master being surrounded and focused, having to... Actually, that was surrounded by Fly's units. So, the heroes are really... The hero advantage is really now in Winters' favor. That Torn Chieftain being forced to flee. Now that only the Blade Master here at 44 health, and... this is... Quillbeast goes off, it's at 2 health. 2 health. Fairy Dragon chasing it, and you'll see that Winters actually trying to micro that Fairy Dragon in the proper direction. 10 health, 11, 12, 8, 7. Yeah, and I mean this is just formalities really. Winters has this game won as soon as he can get his tree down to that expansion. So obviously Fly putting up his own expansion, but it's not gonna do much. while the Blade Master is trying to get away. Tauren Chieftain goes down, and that's a good game. Blade Master getting cycloned, and this is just straightforward at this point. Blade Master, Demon Hunter has boots, Blade Master doesn't. So you can all guess the outcome. Fly GG's, and the game's over. So, Winners makes Talons look easy. He makes it look like you can make a lot of mistakes and still win. That's not true. You have to play well, but it's not the hardest strategy to pull off. Just get your heroes, micro your summons well, put your Pocket Factory in a good place. And remember, you have the advantage in most fights. You want to force fights. And force them at the Orc's base if you can, because his base doesn't do much for him. You should always be on the aggressive when you have Talons. Because if you're not on the aggressive, the Orc can come raid your base, and that's painful. So try and force fights near the Orc's base. Put down your Pocket Factory in a good location that you can protect with your units. Healing scrolls, invuln pots. Don't underestimate the importance of invuln pots. They are really, really important to this matchup for the Elf and for the Orc, but especially for the Elf. You're against a Blade Master and raiders. You're going to have trouble, staffing out your heroes. We didn't even see Winners get a staff in this game, and that was a good choice because, against Ensnare, what are you going to staff out? So you can't expect to get your heroes out in any other way than invuln pots or a scroll of TP. So I suggest getting invuln pots on. I suggest getting 2 invuln pots for your army. That should be enough. If you're having to use all 3 invuln pots, if you get 3 and you have to use all 3, you were going to lose the battle anyway. Get 1 extra healing scroll when doing the Talon strategy. 1 over the normal rule of thumb, which is 1 per gold mine. Get 2 on 1 gold mine, 3 if you have 2 mines. And Mana Burden Tauren Chieftain keeps his mana down, so that you don't have to worry so much about using those healing scrolls. Anyway, that was the Elf point of view of this commentary, the Elf part. I'm going to do the Orc part next, and yeah, you should probably watch that too, especially if you're an Orc player like me and you want to see the revenge of the Orcs. It will be Lyn, so an extra incentive. So, yeah, thanks for listening. This is Anonymous.